it just a lie? Where is the love? I'll take my specs off today. Waiting for Brown to get back. Where is the love? Where is the love?
You have a nice voice, brother.
Shut up. I ain't know nothing. Okay, cool out. That's some light. So you said you got your list, huh, man?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I try to spread the artists around, you know, because Kanye alone got like 3 albums, you know what I'm saying? It's like my favorite all time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be all Kanye and Jay.
Well, I mean, I try, I'm trying to be, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, see what I can do. I don't know if it could be all Jay or Kanye and nothing like that, but I definitely got a few albums.
Yeah.
Definitely got a few albums. It's gonna be interesting to see. Like I'm curious to see who gonna make what list. So we waiting for Brian to get in. So soon as Brian gets in.
But I ain't gonna talk about too much. I'm gonna say something for the show.
Yeah, we actually gonna say. I mean, right now we're recording. Right now we're live right now on both Facebook via my laptop. Via my laptop. And also we're live streaming on YouTube right now as well.
Gotcha.
This was you finished your list rather quick, bro. Like you was like, I got my list. Like, sheesh. Well, I'm
that confident in them. Like to this day, I'm that confident in my list, and to this day, I still listen to these albums. So
it ain't about confidence. It's your list. So I mean, however you cultivate your list is your list. You know what I'm saying?
I know my list gonna be a little different though.
So for like, I mean, I'm gonna talk about it when we're actually Brian gets back, but like actually had to go and like listen to these albums again. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have the most time to do it. But I had to, you know what I'm saying, just try to put myself back in that mental space where I was listening to those albums. You know what I'm saying? That's going to determine where these albums place on my list. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also like, you guys didn't rank your albums. My goal was to rank them, not just list them, but to rank them.
Yeah, I got my 10, and when you said the day that you ranked them, it did take me a little while, to rethink where I would list them at,
Like, cause what I did was I chopped down to the albums I felt like could potentially make my list. And then I had to chop down to the 10 out of that list of albums. And I thought I was done, and then like I was like, let me check and see when, because here's the thing, the timeline between 99, like 98 to 2000 sort of run together for me. Like high school, like my high school years, they tend to run together. So I'm like, let me check, and I'm like, God damn, this album came out, 2000 shit.
Right.
But I mean, I guess I'm a fit. Like my thing is, if you had, it's funny because I sort of feel like if you had to be reminded of the album, then it shouldn't be on your list.
Oh, agreed.
I had to think of, if you had to be reminded that the album came out within that time frame, is a different conversation, and that's what we're like. Okay, it wasn't that I didn't remember the album. I love the album. It's just I didn't remember. I didn't realize it came in within the last 20. I thought it was like 21, 22, so I had missed the cut. And some of these joints made the cut. So.
But yeah, I think I mean, but I'm kind of excited to hear everybody's list, because you and Brian are kind of pretty much still like in the same age bracket.
Yeah, but trust me, man, Brian gonna have some different lists, bro.
I mean, my list can be different from y'all's because of course, I still listen like 90s music, 90s rap and like early 2000s stuff to this day, but it's a difference between going back and listening to that album and then actually listen to the album while it dropped. You feel what I'm saying? It's going to have a different impact. But I already know for a fact though, you're gonna have DMX in there. I know that.
DMX don't have no albums that drop. The albums that DMX, all his first 3 albums, they all dropped before 2000.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm saying It's Dark as Hell Is Hot, Flesh of My Flesh, and then there was X. All 3 of those dropped before 2000. So DMX, unless I have Grand Finale or The Great Depression on my top 10, DMX won't be on my list. So that's just how we going with it. We didn't start doing the podcast yet. I'm live. So Facebook, you live, Xbox, they can hear you. Facebook, what up? But we're live on both of them. YouTube live, what up? Oh, what they call you out in Jersey? Be nasty. Be nasty. Yeah. Noise.
It's nice hardwood floor right there, boy. I'm trying to tell you.
Here we go. Jordan Flowers, baby. It's for everybody. Everybody. One for one, one for all. Like the fire red. Man, it's a little bit about it. I ain't too much, bro. Hey, where did that bottle go? Which bottle? Yeah, the Garnier. I'm guessing it's in the bag. She probably put it in the freezer. We'll check that. That right. Okay, they washed it. Oh, y'all got the full pink on everything. Show it off. It's really good though. Yeah. Where's Red at? It's in the refrigerator. Fridge? Yeah. I chill that red? If it's sweet red like that. Oh yeah, sweet red. Yeah, it's just, I'm lying about that shit. I ain't telling you. Oh yeah. Fuck y'all. The shit is called sweet red too. Ain't that about a bitch? It's delicious. I need you to. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make you 2 shots, bro. Oh my god.
We've been drinking. It's not like I.
No shit. We're gonna do a shot together. I'm only taking one shot. We help you to drink your shit out of it. Oh. You got a cup? What do you mean? All right. Like for drinking, what? Red. Are these your cups? That's not. I mean, my glass is up top. You not drinking wine, my nigga? Oh, I go. Yeah, I'm just not the rap hood, the real hood. The rap hood, the real hood, they talking about. Boom. And that's only all you got? Yeah, that's it. You gonna take it to the head or you gonna do it out of the glass? You gonna out of the glass? Yeah. You gonna be dignified? Mom's gonna 100 grand. So we're straight shot. Yeah, we're gonna take a shot together. Oh man, that's a shot. I see what you're talking about. I'm gonna have this wine though. That ain't more than a damn shot. That means we gotta get you some wine too, then, right? You gotta go back out for what? You know, what, wine? Yeah. Oh, she gonna put that way?
Nah.
Huh?
No, I always like to have this little small.
Well, I should have asked if I had some. I just didn't have time to stop by and break some, but I would do finish after the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Alright.
So how are you start? I gotta do the recipes.
Your who?
The recipes separately, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you want to like what up then? Or you just want to just
you can do recipes first.
All right. So all we're talking about is the top 10s?
I mean, that's how we're gonna start it off, but then if we get to somewhere else, we get something else.
Nice shoes, my brother.
What happened?
Let's not play stupid. Nice shoes, my brother.
I didn't realize you could see my shoes. They're just regular shoes. These actually Shaquille O'Neal's. They make some fake Jordans. All right.
Oh, trolling. Here you go.
So you got recipes?
Oh yeah. You ready some?
Yeah, we're gonna start right now.
All right. Hey, what up, man? It's Brian's B Money, half of on the ride up. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be right if we didn't start this off with a rest in peace to my man's. Grew up with him, my best friend from 3rd grade to 10th grade, and we connected a little bit recently. My man Melvin Tyrone Graham Jr. You know what I mean? There's a few of y'all that, grew up with us that know who he was. He's just a real dude, gracious. And he's gonna be missed. So I just wanted to say rest in peace to him, condolences to the peoples, his cousins, all his folks, his kids. Man, y'all know the stories if you listen to it. Like if you from where you from, you know the stories that we just was all grew up as and it was all love. So and that was my man. So that one hit me last week. And, but we're gonna just celebrate his life. He was a good dude. He was a happy dude. Like he wasn't known for no BS. And I mean, man, it's tough when you lose a good one, and he was a good one. But we're gonna celebrate his life right now. Shout out to you, Ty, and man, we're gonna keep rolling for you. Peace to you, brother.
Rest in peace, rest in peace. Yes, sir. That being said. What up, 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 what up? It's your boy T.
Hey, it's your man B.
And you on the ride up. Season 2, episode 33, season finale.
The KAJ episode. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar episode. Or the Scottie Pippen episode.
Or the Shaq.
Or Shaq episode, but that's the Lakers Shaq. I don't know. Not even Lake Shaq.
That's a Shaq. Shaq I like.
Shaq.
He was 33 in Orlando.
You Atlanta,
but
too.
Nonetheless, it's the Kareem episode.
It's the Kareem episode.
Kareem episode.
The real greatest center.
We got a good one for y'all. Normally we don't do things. We just talk about shit that's going on. Today, as you've seen me asking questions for the last week or so, what one album would you have to definitely name in your top 10 of the past 20 years? From 2000 to 2020. It's one of those topics, right? Where it's just like who's the greatest rappers, all that. Like this shit ties in. You know what I'm saying? It ties in, right?
Yeah. We didn't introduce Real. Real, what up?
What up, fellas? What's up?
Real, what up, baby boy?
Ain't nothing, man. Another day, another dollar.
Real, and just let y'all know, Real was actually supposed to be in studio with us today. And I said in studio like I'm rapping today. He was supposed to be on the set today with us. Unfortunately, Real had an incident with his vehicle, therefore wasn't able to travel long distance to get here. Nonetheless, he's still with us in spirit, still with us on the pod. Real, my guy.
What up?
Glad to have you with us.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, my honorable mentions would be funny. No, some of y'all not gonna
pull up my Facebook Live on your joint just in case people message me and I can't see it on my. So here's the thing. When I first pitched this idea to the fellas, this on my personal point. So when I first pitched this idea, it was like I have a million ideas, and I just be like randomly hitting Brian up like, yo, what's up with this one? What's up with that one? And Brian's always gonna be with the shits, because that's how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be with the shits and like I am with it, and you just figure it out when you get there, right? But when I said it, Brian was like, shit, 10 and 20, 10 and 20. He was like, shit. I'm like, yeah, 10 and 20. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Feet to the fire. Wait for Brian to turn the volume down on this motherfucker. He don't know how to work his phone. It must be an iPhone.
Here it go.
Now, what happened was, I'm like 10, like the 10, your 10 favorite albums. And listen, I think what happens a lot of times is when you see lists of the best or the out or the greatest shit, there's a difference between what you think is the best period versus your favorite. We have to acknowledge that it's a difference between what you think is the best and what's favorite because of that P word called preference. And what you're going to hear if people name lists, you're going to hear preference. This is why I say favorite, because I feel like favorite is more honest. When you go to name the best album, you start bringing in factors that aren't necessarily genuine, like numbers. People will start saying, "Oh, well, this album sold more." Like, listen, I like Nelly. Nelly went diamond on an album. It doesn't matter what album he went diamond on. Jay-Z's never went diamond. Does that mean that Nelly had a better album than Jay-Z? No. Or maybe you want to take it away from Jay-Z. I'm a big Jay-Z fan. I know a lot of you guys listening might be Lil Wayne fans. Lil Wayne has never went diamond. If Nelly had any album better than your favorite Lil Wayne album? In your opinion, you're going to say no. So numbers don't really matter to me in that instance. Therefore, I'd rather say I emphasize the word favorite. So when I say favorite, I'm going to be talking about the albums that resonated, stuck with me, and like got me like that was the album that I listened to for a long period of time. Not just once the new thing came out, it was, you know what I'm saying, just a CD in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? This is like an album that, like, if I hear it today, I'm like, damn, it takes me back and I want to listen to it, you know what I'm saying, fully through again. Fully through again. That's another key word you're going to hear me. You're going to see why I mentioned that in the beginning. So, one thing, another year, you got three of us right now. Rail, you what? You're 20 what, Rail?
28.
Rail's 28. So Rail's 10 years younger than us. So that 10-year difference is going to change how he looked at certain things when his music was coming out. It's going to resonate different. You know? He's not going to be able to listen to certain things the way we listen to it at that moment. He can go back and listen to it, and yeah, he's in touch with a lot of shit because that's my cousin, and we grew like we you know what I'm saying, we've been around each other, so he's had an experience with it, but it's a different experience, right? So it's gonna be I can't wait. Brian did not put his in order.
No.
So what happened was when Brian didn't put his in order, it interfered with me putting mine completely in order. Right? Also my schedule. I'm not going to completely blame my schedule as well. Because this shit takes, like, I would literally have to listen to all of this shit in 24 hours. And say, okay, I got to re-listen to all this shit. Like, all right, what am I
listening? Okay, my bad. So what I did was, over the last 20 years, I looked at the like top 25 lists, and it's like, which album did I keep listening to, and I would go back to listening to right now, tomorrow, or most of the songs, 90-80% of the songs, whatever. Or which album I remember during that period of time dominated that period of time. So that's where I came from. It's not going to be a list that everybody loves, and I mean, whatever. I'm not apologizing for that.
So one of the reasons why I wanted the list in order, it just so we can have it can add to the comparison, you know what I'm saying, the contrast of our list.
You want to talk about your number one first?
We're going to get number one out the way first. So, but before we get the number ones out the way, we're going to salute to get into season 2, episode 33. Absolutely. And for the record, these have not been drank out of before because these were given to Brian and Felicia for at their bridal shower. So, her, you was there. I saw you.
I was there.
I saw you pop your Gucci there. You
caused
that. Hey, salute to you, bro.
Yeah, I'll drink with y'all in spirit.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Number one.
Let's get it out the way.
Yes, sir.
And I feel like this should be a 97%
something like that
of everybody's list. Number one album of the last 20 years.
1989. Between 81 and 80.
Of the people that I would, and I don't mean to say this in a disrespectful manner, but the people that I would ask this question to. Doesn't mean that we all listen to the same type of music, but the people I would ask this question to, meaning I wouldn't ask somebody that's 20 years old, motherfucker, you wasn't even born. So obviously you had to be a certain age to have somewhat of an opinion on the topic. With that being said, my number one album out of all of the albums that I had listed, I knew for a fact that I don't give a fuck how I slice this list up. Jay-Z, The Blueprint, would be my number one album.
Blueprint number one is Blueprint 1.
There's actually 3 blueprints.
Yeah, there's 3 blueprints, so there's a 2, 2.5, and a 3.
Correct.
Yes. Has to be the number one. Why is it number one before I get this?
Rail, what's your number one album?
It's funny that you say that because the Blueprint is my number one album.
Interesting. Okay. And that's what I said. So that's the 97%. It all depends on how old you are, bro. 28?
Yes.
Right. It fits into the narrative. Why is Blueprint the number one? It's one of the greatest rap albums of all time. Period. To me. One of the greatest. One of the greatest. Not the greatest, but one of them. And it's one of my favorites. I'm gonna stick to favorites. I'm not gonna do greatest, I'm gonna stick to favorites. Number one, production is A1. The timing of it is A1. Like it was just that album was the perfect storm of rap. I remember how they presented the album. You remember it was, I want to say the Source Awards. Like a couple months before the album dropped. Jay-Z doesn't do award shows. Jay-Z was at the award show and he performed Ace of Izzo. And everybody, it might have been BET Awards.
I think.
That I'm not 100%. I think it was Source, but it might have been BET. I'm not 100% sure. All I remember is it was a stage full of niggas. Like the stage was packed. And they hit Ace of Izzo. He only did like one verse of it. And no one had the Michael Jackson sample in it. Like it went bananas. So I'm like, you was already anticipating smoke coming.
Right.
But Jay-Z had he already had a couple other records where he done samples. He had, you know what I'm saying, the Annie sample, you know what I'm saying, on volume 2. Then he had Anything on Beanie Siegel's album.
Yeah.
And he had the Diamonds joint on he had a couple Diamonds and Dog that's on the Blue Streak album. So he'd already given you that fire ass sample record. But when we heard this and it was upbeat, it's like, oh, H to the Izzo, B to the Izzy.
Yeah, and it came off of the Dynasty album, and people were like, oh, that wasn't really. There was a debate of whether or not at the time. Now we can look back at it, that was a Rockefeller compilation. But at the time it was like a whole competing thing. It's like, damn, Jay-Z, that wasn't a Jay-Z album, that was a Rockefeller album. Which was, I mean, and it was a dope album. We sat and listened to that album. And like me, my man Ron, shout out, if you listen, shout out to everybody, 1511.
Shit.
You listen to that album.
That album come out in 2000?
It came out in 1999.
Thank goodness.
I think I want to say that came out in 1999. Or it came out in 1999.
Hey, real. Check and see when the Dynasty album came out.
But we sat there and listened to it like track by track, and it was like, man, we just had this debate of whether or not that's a Jay-Z album. So I'm gonna say why it's in my top 10. You are getting technical with yours. It's in my top 10 because this is the era of CDs right at Kazaa. You was switching Napster to Kazaa, whatever, streaming. We had the bootleg 2 weeks prior. Me and my man Ron and my man Feliciano, who's a Trump supporter now. Brother, come on, man. Get it together. So 2 weeks prior, we had the bootleg. We was listening in the crib 24/7. And my man was coming from Jersey. He was like, yo, let's go to Manhattan. New York. We need to ride out to some, you know what I mean, NYC music. Blueprint. Boom. All the way up for 2 hours. It's 2 hours from Philly to New York. We do our thing. We chill. Listening to this album. You Don't Know is one of my favorite songs ever. But that's and then when it drops, you know what I mean, September 11, when it officially drops, it's the towers just fell and the Pentagon just got hit. And that just changed your life. We have some technical difficulties.
Goofy ass Rel left the fucking chat.
Oh.
Nah, my phone kicked me out.
Get your shit together. Turn your camera around, bitch.
Shout out to Nah, but that's it. It stamped a time. It stamped a period of time in my life. So the Blueprint, and plus it has one of my favorite songs, like two of my favorite songs in hip hop. Two of my top 50 favorite songs in hip hop. And it's more than just the technical, Kanye and just it was a perfect blend and Bink. We don't want to disrespect Bink because
yeah, one of the best beats on the album.
Yeah, exactly, facts. And he's
Hey yo, Blueprint. And you know another thing we gotta say, you gotta point out, like, again, it's not about the numbers, but you gotta point out the fact that the Source didn't give out 5 mics to just any album at that time. You know what I'm saying?
It was coming to a time where it's like people were like kind of hesitant with the Source because it was right before Benzino and the Eminem shit. So that happened right after time. It was like 2 years, like a year and a half, 2 years. But no, 5 mics didn't happen everywhere. You're absolutely right.
So to get the 5 mics, like everything about that, man, like that album is just crazy, bro. Like it was crazy. Okay, so this is my litmus test for this is my litmus test for if an album is great. If when you listen to that album over time and your favorite song changes. And listening to Blueprint, your favorite song definitely can change from, with like it's just that good of an album. There's not one miss on the album. He's like this, like it's phenomenal. So I don't want to listen. Like I said, I think 97% what people will be having Blueprint as their number 1 album of the last 20 years, right? Depending on the age group. So
we don't spend too much time.
Motherfuckers know why Blueprint number 1. Lyrical exercise is why it's number 1. All I need by the Big Dog, the takeover.
You don't know how Vito, Girls Part 2. I'm not as big.
1 and 2.
I'm not as big as 1. So Takeover is still great. The Rule is Bad is a great intro. It's probably his top 3 intro. Is bad. Never Change. Song Cry. That's Risha's favorite song. Man, like you can't build a better album than this. Hip hop wise, you can build equals. There's some you can build equals, but man, it's hard to build a better album. Hard, very difficult. What you got? What else you got? You want to go, or you want me to try to find one on my list?
Do you have a number 2?
Do I have a number 2? Not a consensus. I'm sure there's no consensus on mine. After Blueprint, there's no consensus on mine.
Okay. So we won't call it number 2, but we'll list them based on second, third of what you name, and in that particular order. But name the second album on your list that's in your top 10.
My second one that's probably going to get a lot of consensus is Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
It's on mine.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's on yours, right?
No, it's not.
Wow, I'm shocked. Oh, you know why? Because that's not his favorite one. His favorite one is what? Graduation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Favorite Kanye.
So the reason, and I'm sure it's your reason, Paul, is that time. It's not a pause.
How is that a pause?
It's not a pause.
Motherfuckers pause anything.
Yeah, no, but the experiences around the album, it's the same as the next album that I'm going to say. Or if you, I want you to go after me. But
I'm gonna go after you only because
you're probably gonna say
it's on my list.
All right. So, Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy stamps a era in time. 2000 was it 12, 11? He was out here in the city just like
having a good old time.
we had a great time. And it's just the joints after joint, and that was Kanye at his most creative, in my opinion. People could say
I agree too. Most creative. Kanye.
Yeah. I mean, people say 808s. People say College Dropout. College Dropout might be a better album. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even gonna get into the debate. Yeah. I just want to praise Beautiful Dark Twisted Family because people, I think, underestimate it as one of Kanye's classics. Honestly,
I don't know if people.
I've seen it on Twitter. Maybe not.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe not in our circles generally, but I've seen it on Twitter that that it's not as respected as a classic for him. And I gotta disagree, man. It's his second best, like not his second best album, because I don't think I have another Kanye. But it's like if I did a couple things on my 10. I was like, yo, if I don't have if my favorite artist is not even in the 10, then how am I gonna? But also, like, Nas is not. There's no Nas album on my list.
Damn, you let the calendar there before we got the 10? Sheesh, y'all.
I'm just trying.
Nas got on your list? Yowzers. I think we all know ain't no motherfucking Nas album on my list. Right? Okay.
Yeah, Nas Hayden.
In Illmatic came.
Oh shit! This nigga got grays in his beard now. Oh shit! Damn, dog.
Never gone.
You cutting the beard off, bro?
No, we're gonna still.
You gonna trim it down? Yeah. You gonna clean up for that wedding? Yeah. Dun dun dun. Dun, 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 dun. No, I'm joking. I'm getting married too, so I'm dumb as a motherfucker too. We're gonna change the podcast to Dumb and Dumber if we could, but I don't want to get sued by whoever owns the rights to fucking Dumb and Dumber.
Get back to bit. You can talk to my man was grabbing Amber Rose's ass before she got a dumbass tattoo on her face. Like he was bringing bottles of Hennessy. Like he was interrupting Taylor Swift.
Hey, listen.
He was out on the streets.
The album was already great. And then you got to the Chris Rock skit.
Right. Is he opposed to the, I mean?
Kanye, what? That shit was genius. Like, yo, Kanye is listen.
And then everybody else wanted Chris Rock on the album.
Twisted Fantasy is a genius masterpiece album because what Kanye West did in that album, he did on no other album. Do I think he has some songs on some of the other albums that are maybe better than individually this one? Yeah. Of course. But this album, like, listen, the way he put people together, like, look at how many, he basically used the rap and R&B, the music industry as an entire fucking orchestra. What you're listening to when you listen to the album is a fucking symphony. From having Charlie Wilson, Alicia Keys, name them. Mm-hmm. What's my guy name? What's my guy name from Maroon 5? His name is sitting in my mind right now.
That's on there.
Fuck, he's on this album too. He sings like a hook or like a background vocal on that album too. Like he uses so many people just in the most right. The best thing about it is like he used them for texture, and that's what I love. Like the album doesn't say you will say a song, it won't say featuring such and such because they're part Adam Levine. The parts that they are used in it's not in a grand manner. It's just, hey, I want you to come in and sing the intro harmony on this part right here. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So yes, that album is definitely on my list. Now, so when you said that album and you alluded to it being a moment in time, and obviously that's where it means a lot to me because that music came out around the time where On the Ride Up was sort of birthed, right? Yeah. And I am not going to name this next album that I think you would name in your top 10. I'm going to go somewhere else, and I'm going to say Big Sean Finally Famous is in my top 10. My top 10 favorite albums.
And that's what we're talking about 2000, 2020. Let's just make sure
Yes.
we preface this.
I mean, if you're watching the show, you already know it's from 2020. Big Sean Finally Famous is it's in my top 10.
Okay.
And that wasn't easy. Getting like when I listen, my top 10 is not an easy list, but that album
too, because he had a couple of mistakes.
I'm only talking about the album. That album,
making sure everybody understands
that yeah. Oh, for the record, I think you have a mixtape on your top 10. I did not include mixtapes or anything other than LPs. So no short EPs and none of that shit. It was straight, no soundtracks with various artists, just LPs. Big Sean Finally Famous. That album ties into the moment that I'm talking about. Yeah. Around that time, like it's a connection album.
Yeah.
So that album is on. I'm not gonna delve into it. You already know the album. I'm not gonna delve into it, but that's on the album.
It's a good album for me because I'm not mad at it. It's a little surprise to me. Just
I have a few of them that you probably like. Oh, okay.
But I love that album because it felt like a divergence from his style when I first heard him. Because when I first heard him, he sounded like a Kanye clone. And I heard him a while previous to it.
That album made him.
Yeah, he like I heard his story. I kind of wrote him off as he sounds like Kanye. His cadence, his flow, like it's maybe.
Girl, what your name is? I really can't remember.
Yeah, but he ushered in a style that at that point in time that people copy, even an old head like Ludacris that tried to, try to play it like he made it. Anyway, Nicki
Balloon.
Nicki Minaj did it. There's a couple of other people that did it, and even when he got away from it, people were still trying to do it. So yeah, no, I feel you. Okay.
Before you get to your next album, bro, give me your second album, bro.
My second album, The Carter 2. I think this is when Wayne was in his prime.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Because while I was looking at all of these phenomenal pieces of music, this art, I listen. Out of all these great pieces of art that came out in the last 20 years, I got to Wayne, and I said, I'm curious to know which Carter would make a list, if not all of them. So why does the Carter 2 out of the 4 or 5 Carters make your list this early?
The reason why, first and foremost, I can play that album straight through. No skips, none of that. Straight through. Number 2, the impact that Lil Wayne had on not just the culture or Black people, but for everyone. I remember I was actually with Ty, Tony, and DJ. We was walking in Virginia. And there was I don't want to say a couple, but there was a couple guys walking through, white men, polo, you know what I'm saying? Just the whole nerdy look and everything, typical VA dude. And he was talking about, did you get that new Carter 2? Oh, what? You listen to Lil Wayne? So I just think Lil Wayne had an impact on everybody, not just in the Black community, not just in hip hop culture, but for everybody. Everybody loves that album. Number 3, lyrically, I think that's when Lil Wayne was spinning the best lyrics. And number 4, the best rapper alive, man. Come on, it's Lil Wayne. Come on, dog.
All right, so Carter 2. Let me just ask this question. Carter 2 had Fireman on it.
Yeah. Fireman, The Mob, Hustlers Music. He had Robin Thicke in there. Like it was clean.
I'm not going to, because it's favorites. Nobody can disrespect anybody else's favorite. In my opinion, my favorite Wayne album, because my favorite Wayne bodies of work are his.
I think a lot of people gonna feel the way you feel about that.
his DJ drama series. So Carter One, and then I think the prefix probably people vary on which no ceilings. I don't really like no ceilings. A lot of his like I like his pre OD on shirt stuff and post Hot Boy. So no, I feel you, man. Carter too. That is a stamp in a moment of time for him, especially as far as career.
Okay, so like I said, for me, when I went, number one, I went to the greatest artists of the last 20 years. I looked at their catalogs, and so when it came to Wayne for me, and it's a running joke that I'm not a Wayne fan. I am a Wayne fan, but I wouldn't listen myself into. He's not my favorite rapper. And when you don't have Wayne as your favorite rapper, what you tend to come across is not like you said. You could play the Carter 2 completely through. You would probably enjoy and look forward to playing the Carter 2 all the way through. Whereas myself, if I'm in company with somebody who's playing the Carter 2, I would listen to it and I would like a few songs. And I found myself doing that from 1 to 4, where it's like, okay, I like these songs. Okay, I like that song. But I wouldn't listen to the entire album if I were listening to it. Like I would probably skip some records. Not saying that they're not, quality records, but they didn't resonate with me, is what I'm saying. And I think for me, if I had, though Fireman if you look at from 1 to 4, I'm not going to count 5 because that's later on. 1 through 4 are basically prime Wayne, right?
Agree.
My 2 favorite Wayne records, album-wise, would definitely be Go DJ and Fireman. But Carter 2 is better than Carter 1, so I'll agree with you on that as far as, well, actually, I take it back. 3 records. A Millie, Fireman, and Go DJ are my 3 favorite album Wayne records. Fireman is my favorite of the 3. A Millie, all 3 of them crank. But I think that Carter 3 gave me more songs that I rock with. Okay. Like even if like Lollipop was a pop ass record, but it was that shit was fire. You know what I'm saying? It was fire. Mrs. Officer was fire. You know what I'm saying? Like he had. So to me, Carter 3 would probably be the Lil Wayne album that I would listen to more out of the 4 Carter series albums.
We did the referendum. Rel had him on Carter 3 and Carter 2 in this joint. Is it back to me or
it's on you?
All right, so should I go with another joint that I think is consensus until I dip off on
wherever you want to go? Wherever you want to go. It's your podcast.
So you mentioned,
I think I know these by the name, but whatever.
You mentioned mixtapes.
Oh, I don't know.
And the only mixtape that I could actually put on my 10, because I listened to it that many times, other than a real mixtape, like a Fahrenheit 1st and 15.
I feel
Fiasco.
I don't want to cut you off, but I said I feel like I know the mixtape you're gonna name, and if you name the one I think you're gonna name, I will say that I still listen to songs off that mixtape right now. But go ahead and repeat it.
So this is to a lot of people the introduction, but before that, I heard he was writing for Wayne. I heard, there's freestyles off the mixtape that I didn't hear the totality of. So Far Gone, hit so hard in 2009, 2010 that he made a video with Kanye West. That was a mixtape joint. Best I ever had was a mixtape joint.
2009, by the way.
It was 2009. That was a mixtape joint.
Yeah.
That was another part of time like that.
I think if I would have opened up to mixtapes, and here's the thing. This is why I didn't include mixtapes, because there's more. Because it is though. Because you have more free. They have more freedom. Like, it's unfair if Jay-Z doesn't do mixtapes, but he's limited album-wise to copyrights and all kinds of other shit. I'm not going to pit him against, you know what I'm saying, an artist who isn't looking to get, you know what I'm saying, clearances and approvals from the labels. So that's why I'm not, I'm pretty sure if I just told somebody, yo, name me your 10 bodies of work from the last 20 years, and you're a Wayne fan, 8 of those fucking albums may be Wayne because you got his studios plus his dedication, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you take those dedications away and the drought and the leak or whatever the case may be because they don't have the clearances or the label didn't approve them. You know what I'm saying? Then they won't be
Dedication
relevant.
1 would be my
but so far gone, like
it transcends
6. It still wouldn't make my top 10, but I understand why it makes your top 10. Because people are going to focus on successful. They're going to focus on best I ever had, which is probably, to me, is one of Drake's top 10 songs of all time. But The Calm is my favorite mixtape. One of my favorite mixtapes. Like it was epitome of Drake on that song. The beat was real mellow, and he was just spitting the heat on that shit. So I can definitely understand why So Far Gone is. With that being said, I will not lay a mixtape record on there.
Okay, so I needed to bring it up.
Absolutely, I understand. Okay, so what I want to do, since I went and reached out and said Big Sean, so I sort of went to the mid 2000s. I'm gonna bring it back a little bit, and this is the reason why I'm bringing this album up is because I almost missed it, and I would have been disappointed in myself. So I went and checked to see when the album came out. LOX, We Are the Streets is one of my favorite fucking record albums of all time. And I had to check because I could have sworn that album came out in 99. But what happened was Wild Out, which is the lead single of the album, was circulating in 99, which was tricky because some albums, the second single circulated in 2000, but the album came out in 99. So I had to really dive, and that's what took me so long to get my list together because I was trying to, that line between 99 and 2000, and I was really trying to hold that line. So the Lox album came out in 2000. That is one of my favorite fucking albums of all time.
It's none of y'all better. It's one of my top. It's probably a top 3 DJ Premier beat for me, and it's probably a top 2025.
Yo, whenever I'm working out and I'm doing push-ups and I'm grinding hard, like, yo, Wild Out is one of the songs on my playlist.
If bullets had legs, how you running your head, bro? Style.
Hey, listen,
Cemented, bro. Like, use the
Blood Pressure by Jay-Z on that album.
Nasty,
my blood
bro.
pressure is
Building.
yeah. So I'm not gonna dwell on it, but yes.
Shout out to
the Lox, We Are the Streets.
I
on my album.
I would have
on my list.
I didn't even look that album up because I thought it came out in 99 because I remember throwing the fridges off the joint and all that.
With the double doors.
Yeah,
the double doors.
Shout out to them. So let's get to real. What would be something that you want to pick off your list?
What's your third one, real?
Okay. Earlier y'all said Dark Twisted Fantasy was your favorite Kanye album, right?
Mm-hmm.
For my third, I picked Graduation by Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why, because I remember when that album came out, I was in 9th grade. Not only was the album fire, you gotta understand Kanye also had an impact during that time when that album dropped, when it came to fashion. I remember everybody wearing the scarves, the checker scarves around their neck. When that album came out, everybody wore the glasses from the Stronger video when that album came out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to compare let's just take the first song from My Dark Twisted Fantasy and Graduation. Which one you taking, T? Brian, which one you taking?
What's the fantasy?
Twisted Fantasy over Good Morning?
Yes. But
really,
we've had this conversation before. Right behind Twisted Fantasy is Graduation for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's right behind it.
This would be
Good Morning.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, Good Morning is dope as hell.
Good Morning, yeah.
I probably would
Think of the ballet. Listen,
Graduation intro. I'm with you, bro. I'm gonna
Come on, dog. Like,
oh, if you talking about the intros, then I give you the Good Morning intro. I misheard you. My apologies. Yes.
And from the jump, bro. Good Morning out the gate. I'm not playing with him, bro. Dropped a fire beat, killed him on the verse, and then all right, we not done. You gotta think of songs like "Can't Tell Me Nothing," which is probably top 5, at least in my opinion, one of Kanye's greatest singles. Then "Good Life" was on there, and this is around the time when T-Pain was really popping and killing it. You gotta think of "Homecoming." How, oh my gosh, man, don't even get me started. Don't get me started. Then talking about Big Brother, when he was basically paying this dude or his respect to Jay-Z. And then let's not even forget Drunk and Hot Girls.
No,
Kanye's having fun on that album, bro. He's playing around, and it's still a fire song, bro. There's not too many artists that can do that. And to me, that's when I feel like Kanye was his most creative. Like, especially the videos, like the Good Morning video. That's something we have never seen from Kanye. Mm-hmm. Like, that's all I gotta say on that. So Graduation definitely makes number 3 on my list.
Yeah, like Can't Tell Me Nothing, Barry Bonds. Like, I always thought Drunken Hot Girls was supposed to say Drunken White Girls. So I never really I thought that was really like they was playing around in the studio and saying Drunken White Girls, and then they were like, yo, we can't put Drunken White Girls out as a record. So like I play Drunken Hot Girls. So that shaded that record for me. But like Everything I Am, Homecoming, Big Brother, Good Life,
it's a great album.
Good Morning. It's a beautiful, great album. So yeah, I feel
so I think for me, one of the reasons why Twisted Fantasy resonated more for me than Graduation is because I feel like Graduation feels like a continuation of Late Registration. And once Graduation, like between Graduation, you drop 808s and Heartbreaks. And it's sort of, you know what I'm saying? It sort of segmented the Kanye we knew versus the Kanye we were about to find out who he was. And I feel like he took flack for 808s and Heartbreaks.
Mm-hmm.
He needed 808s and Heartbreaks to come out and for us to digest it and get used to it in order for us to actually fully receive Twisted Fantasy. And I think Twisted Fantasy is sort of like the Graduation Kanye meets the 808s Kanye. That's why I sort of elevated the Twisted Fantasies Kanye over the Graduation Kanye. Because if you look at the Graduation Kanye, you can list off a bunch of songs that individually stand out and make a great collection makes a great collection, right? But it still doesn't have that wholeness feel to it like Twisted Fantasy does. Mm-hmm. Twisted Fantasy, it feels like I sat down and listened to a visual movie from beginning to the end.
So
that's why I say that Twisted Fantasy is more, it resonated more to me than Graduated, and I love Graduation. I feel like this. I remember the first time I heard Good Life. It was before you guys probably heard it because you guys don't watch Entourage. Mm-hmm. And I remember what Entourage would do is on their end credits, a lot of times they would play, every end credit for Entourage, they would play music. Yeah, more than likely you heard the song, but occasionally you didn't. And I remember it was one episode, I don't remember the episode because I didn't know I was going to go here today. It was an episode, it was going off, and I heard the record, and I was like, yo, is that Kanye West and fucking T-Pain? And I rewinded it back. I'm like, yo, and I was telling, I wish I'm a hit Ty. He probably remember because I was still roomies with Ty at the time. I'm like, yo, Kanye West and T-Pain got a vibe joint called Good Life. That shit is fire.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, that video was big. It was a fire ass record, man. It was a great energy record. But yeah, I love Graduation. So I have no problem with you having Graduation in your top 10, or even ranked above. You said Twisted Fantasy. I haven't decided yet whether or not it's in my top 10. I'm still mulling it over. I'm still mulling it over.
But T, before we go on, I'm gonna piggyback on what you said. You say that My Dark Twisted Fantasy was pretty much like that movie feel for you, correct?
Yeah.
So is it more so the music that gave you that movie feel, or just the video itself?
No. I said listening to the album from beginning to end, it gave me that movie feel because it's like it's a story. But it's funny you say that, because if you now tie in the videos, think about the fact that he did that Runaway video.
Correct.
That video was 33 minutes long. He basically actually gave you he pulled a Michael Jackson and gave you a movie with one song. And I remember when that joint came out, everybody, like, that was a beautiful piece of art. Like, Kanye is giving you musical art with this album. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was writing his own checks at this point. All right. Brian, it's on you, baby boy. What you got for me?
So, I think where are we at? 4?
Yeah, 4.
And that's tough, man, because because a lot of people are gonna say his album, 2 albums after this is gonna be his classic, his best album. This is his most accepted classic.
Okay.
That the album that I'm not the album I'm about to talk about, but the album that is 2 albums before this. That's the one I have my 10.
Ooh, I think I know where he's going.
Like Water for Chocolate.
I did not know where he was going. And oh man, that's one of my albums.
The one that you said We Are the Future, you had to look up to see when it came out.
Yeah. I knew it came out, and it's on my list, and it got narrowed down. It did not make my top 10, but please continue, Brian.
When Like Water for Chocolate came out, I was just getting to the art school, and I was like, man, I was trying to rap, trying to figure it out.
Brian got bars.
And this album came out, man. I learned things on this album. I learned who Asada Shakur.
I was going cheers to you to like Water for Chocolate, but you drank all your shit. Lush.
But yeah, man, Asada Shakur finding this shot, Asada, the big payback, payback's a grandmother. It's payback's a grandmother. It's a great story. Like there's just joints on the Sixth Sense. That's another premier song that's probably in my top 50 premier beats.
I want to stop on that.
Okay.
And this is, well, I'm talking not Sixth Sense, but The Light.
The Light.
The original, the first sentence. That song.
That's a Dilla song, though.
That song, yeah, that song always resonates with me to the point where I have it tattooed on me. So imagine me not having, and for the record, if you don't know, it was a sample of Bobby. Damn it, what's his name? Oh, Bobby Caldwell. Excuse me. Draw a blank for a second. Bobby Caldwell. That's who. They didn't really alter his vocal. Yeah. They basically just chopped. All they did was really chop what he said. but I have that tattooed on me. You know what I'm saying? Because Lucy means the light.
Mm-hmm. No, so like as far as like people talk about backpackers, conscious rap, whatever. That was that to me that's the pinnacle of that.
It was.
And that's the only song he knows. It's funny that that's the only song that nigga knows. Anyway, that song irritates the fuck out of this. Yeah, man, like Water Chocolate deserves to be my favorite because that I listened to that back to back. Looks like Life After Death.
I listened to that album. So I got a job at my first job at Sam Goody in like August of '99, and when I first got there, I didn't really get to choose, which was okay. I was cool with that. But once I finally started, you know what I'm saying, they started letting me choose music and shit, and that Common album came out like 2000. And I was, you know what I'm saying, playing music. It was one of the only like 3 albums I played. One of those albums is actually on my top 10 list.
Okay.
But I played a lot of R&B because one of the R&B albums that came out at the time was if we did an R&B top 10, it would be in my R&B top 10. Matter of fact, we're gonna do an R&B top 10, y'all. Matter of fact, that might be episode 1, maybe. It depends because a lot of shit, we gotta talk about this James Harden shit. This Kyrie Irving. Shout out to Kyrie Irving for buying George Floyd's family. You know what I'm saying? All the shit that I said about fuck that doing this thing shit. But out of all the shit I talk about Kyrie Irving, I want to give him a shout out for buying George Floyd's family a fucking house. That right there, to me, is as crazy job I look at it. To me, that is like side by side with LeBron having a fucking school. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later on. I'll say this: that Like Water for Chocolate, I played it a lot, and it might have made my top 10. It also put me on the Bilal.
Yes, Bilal was on it.
And he wasn't on it before Peace. The record with him and Macy Gray. He only sang the outro, and I'm like, yo, that motherfucker's voice is dynamic.
Shout out to
Bilal.
Shout out to Zara. I always
every time you talk about Bilal, you gotta mention Zara because we saw her live. She killed it though, and she's local.
Yeah,
she's local. I would love to hear one day that Zara and R. Lennox got a record together. I would love to hear that. So, since you named like, I'm sorry, you should have more about like what I'm talking about.
I need to put that on my top 10 because
it
represents who I am.
Since you have like Water for Chocolate on yours, I will go ahead and let everybody know. It's funny because I didn't want to, because I sort of would have piggybacked off your last one, but I didn't. I went somewhere else, but I will piggyback on this one and say that Common's B album is on my top 10. Yo, when The Corner came out, nigga. When The Corner came out, if you didn't know Kanye West, if you didn't know Common, nigga, you know now. On The Corner. I wish I could give you this feeling. I wish I could give you this feeling. On The Corner. Feeling. Just a nigga living. But hey, yo. The Corner, and then I have Last Poets doing the
No. Man, that's why I said. That's why I did. I love B, and B should probably be. I mean, if you're mentioning it now, it should be my honorable mentions. But like the first classic, I played Like Water for Chocolate for years straight. Like, I can't. I couldn't give that. And B's gonna be on a bunch of niggas' top 10.
It should be,
and it should be absolutely.
But if like what if the top is in the top 10, like it is yours, I would completely understand. Here's the conundrum. I love like Water for Chocolate. I love B. Mm-hmm. I love Finding Forever, and initially Finding Forever was on my top 10. I'll say this. It was on my, because I think Finding Forever is a better album than B. Production wise, not. But sonically, yes. This is why I took it out of my top 10. It's because I felt like it was too much R&B infused.
Okay.
So I pulled it out. Okay. Pause.
Okay. That was
motherfucker, you was there pause on reason. The fuck out of here. Reason. What do you mean?
Yeah, nah.
But Finding Forever was, and I love Finding Forever. But that also has the album, or whatever. Yeah. But B is on mine. The corner, like the story he told in Testify. Think about it. He didn't like on the video. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Shout out to Toronto.
On the corner, niggas.
Nah, that hit so hard. And it allowed a lot of other underground
that
groups that Kanye.
Do you feel? That's what I'm saying. Do you feel like I feel like when he made Common's album, it sort of said, "Yo, maybe we need to stop just writing off our veteran rap artists. Mm-hmm. Maybe they just need a different viewpoint." Because if you think about it, like Water for Chocolate was, like Common wasn't a multi-platinum artist. That was never his lane, right? He was I give you great music for the backpack rappers. That was his lane. When Electric Circus came out, which I for the record, I guarantee you, people who did not like Electric Circus then, if you go and listen to Electric Circus now, I guarantee you will love the album. Not like it, you will love Electric Circus if you go and listen to it now. Now that you're removed from that time of, you know what I'm saying, listening to music. Because he came off of like Water for Chocolate, you get so it's sort of like 808s and Heartbreaks. You get programmed to like an artist for a certain style. And when they shift, like it, you don't, and then there's there's no real connective tissue. It's hard to relate. And I think a lot of people off the first single with Murray, it was like, okay.
Yeah, it sounded different, but it was still
connected. It was still connected. But if you, right. The rest of but listen, I guarantee you, if you guys go and listen to Electric Circus right now, that album is fuck.
We actually had this discussion.
That's fine. If you go and listen to that album right now, yo, Common, listen, bro. I was pissed at you because when that album came out and I was selling bootleg CDs, I thought I was finna make a grip, and I got stuck with all these fucking CDs because motherfuckers was hearing that the album was trash, and I was like, damn. And what ended up happening is I ended up having that CD just chilling with me for the longest time because not only did I have the bootleg version, I still had the actual version. And it was like maybe like 2009 because the album came out like 2003, 4, something around it. So 5, 6 years later, I'm listening to the album and I'm like, yo, Breeze, hey yo, listen to this Common album. And he's like,
you and Breeze we had this conversation in Maple Ridge. And I was like, man, fuck that album.
And he was like, yo, when y'all was like, he had the same energy. Because I don't even know.
This is after that.
Yeah.
We had this conversation after.
I don't even know what randomly made me to say, because because I fuck with Common. I'm like, I think I want to listen to it. I started looking because here's the thing.
As far as this
No. And I think it was. I tell you what it was, because I became because Bilal wasn't as big, and I think I saw what happened was a lot when you look at the album. I'm 80% sure that he didn't have the featured artist listed on the album, and it's like it was just different. But when you go, you mean to tell me you really think that an album that features Mary J. Blige, Jill Scott, Common Sense, Common is the featured artist, CeeLo, Erykah Badu, Erykah Badu
is wild different. Like the content.
Imagine having all of those artists on the album and saying the album is trash. It's impossible. Even if you took those artists and put them on songs by themselves with them, how are you going to have a trash song with Jill Scott? How are you going to have a trash song with Erykah Badu or CeeLo or Mary?
We've talked about 5. We probably had 10 minutes in on it.
That's fine. It's not on the top 10. That's fine. I said it to say this. We trash electricity because Common deserves respect. He deserves respect.
Wait. He's my top 7. He's my top 5 sometimes.
He deserves vindication, I'll say, for Electric Circus because he got killed about it. The reason what I'm saying is because that album parted seeds in his career. And people wrote Common off as his career was over. His career was over, bruh, when he dropped that shit. Yeah. And then him and Kanye link up and make B? Shit. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that.
B is anybody's top 10. Real,
give me the next
one. I'm gonna take it back to early 2000s. From Queens up in New York, I got 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
I know that's on Brian's top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's
But
what do you think about it, right?
All right, check this out though. That's probably like 50's only classical album. I think we all can agree on that.
Yes, as close as you're gonna get.
Yeah. 50 just had that hunger, man. I guess that was, they say the first album is always the best album. You got a chip on your shoulder. You're hungry. Man, he was just T may disagree with this, but that one album alone crushed Ja Rule's career. I don't care what anybody say. That album crushed his career.
No, he's not gonna. That's this man.
It crushed his career. It crushed it. Wanksta alone crushed that man's career.
Say what crushed his career? The Fed case crushed his career. So we're not gonna. I hear what you're saying, Real, and to a certain extent it did. Like his not the album itself, but like 50's personality and 50's popularity at the time kind of swept everybody into hating Ja Rule. Even though I hated Ja Rule before that, but he knows that. So, I feel you 100%. Back down to the dope ass records. Like,
so to rebut, that album did not do anything to Ja Rule. 50, as Brian said, 50 Cent, all he did really was piggyback on a narrative that was already out there. He just capitalized off it. He didn't create the narrative that all Ja Rule doing is singing. He just capitalized off of it. And it didn't help that one of the big fish on his own label was at his neck about biting his style. So Ja Rule had more than just one thing coming at his career. The fact that DMX was paranoid, assuming that Ja Rule was trying to steal his style because they both, at times, harmonize and sing. Ja Rule did it, on a regular basis where on his singles for the record. And X did it occasionally. So X was at his neck too. And Ja Rule was also rubbing a lot of people under Def Jam the wrong way because he was butting heads with everybody because he was feeling himself. So 50 Cent played the game really good. I can't take anything away from that, but only thing I push back on is I feel like 50 Cent's agenda was the nail in the coffin, so to speak.
Absolutely.
For Ja Rule as a top dog. But Ja Rule still made good records after the New York came out after Ja Rule. I mean, after 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying, Get Rich or Die Trying, to the point where it was so fire that 50 Cent started beefing with Fat Joe and the Lox after. So how? Well, Jadakiss is the Lox.
Yeah. Come on. All
so
right.
How? So completely credit him for killing him, his career, when now he's beefing with other niggas because they made a hot ass record with him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I get what you're saying though, and I understand that Get Rich or Die. I expect Get Rich or Die Trying to be on 99% of rap fans' list.
Right.
It is not on mine.
All right, so it's not on yours. So that's I think that's the first time me and Rel agree on
without me
on an album without you. Yeah. Get Rich at the time represented just me in Philadelphia.
I knew it was coming though. Pause.
But and
big pause.
And Get
Rich. Pause with a big pause.
And Get Rich, I can still listen to Mini Man. I can still, and Mini Man has been redone at least 5 times. Pop Smoke has redone Mini Man. And rapping, I can find said done.
I feel like, you know what? I feel like it should be in my top 10, and it's probably my top 15. I think what's keeping it on my top 15 is my fan for Ja Rule.
All right, so What Up Gangsta still hard. What Up Gangsta is still crazy. Heat still crazy.
Such a fucking hypocrite, wow.
High all the time, still crazy. Bloodhound still crazy.
The album is crazy, my nigga. It's crazy. We get
straight through.
Crazy. You know what I'm saying? The Pimp remix that's not on the album is crazy. Yeah, with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, the remix is better and 21%. You know what I mean? There's joints that.
Oh, what was the
Well, Rickens though. People don't.
What was the ad for 21? His biggest single off the album. Rest in peace. It's funny. Wasn't 50 Cent singing on that album? Wasn't he? This is Ja Rule for being a singing artist.
That shows you more why he's a GOAT, bro. Or at least that album. And let me correct that. At least that album.
50 Cent's biggest record of his biggest album was 21 Questions, and the nigga is singing. Meanwhile, y'all backing this nigga for this is Ja Rule for singing on records.
So, but dog, the difference between 50 and Ja Rule.
21 Questions. Go ahead, Ram.
But the difference between Ja Rule and 50 is 50, he can sing on an album, or excuse me, a record, and can also give you a diss record, and he can also give you a hood record like Mini Man. Ja Rule, not saying Ja Rule can't do that. Not saying he can't, but it got to a point where Ja Rule was singing on multiple songs, bro. It's a difference.
He's a better artist than 50 Cent.
Huh?
He's a better rapper artist than 50 Cent.
Oh, agree. We just comparing, you know what I'm saying, that particular album. I'm just saying that particular album, he gave you different versions of 50, bro.
I will say this. As much as I love Ja Rule never in his wildest dream could make an album as impactful to the culture as Get Rich or Die Trying.
He can't.
But with 50 Cent, as hard as he tried, couldn't duplicate that impact.
No. I would agree with that. He couldn't.
So since you named Get Rich or Die Trying and Brian agreed with it, I'm going to name one of the top 10 albums. I have to. Ja Rule 336 is in my top fucking 10.
Pull this shit up.
Ja Rule 336 is in my top 10. I can listen to that shit from beginning to the end. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, the one thing that Ja Rule always gave me was his intro. I always fuck with Ja Rule's intro. He had like 4 hit records off the album for motherfuckers who aren't really big Ja Rule fans, but listening to hit records and radio shit. He gave you at least 4 of them. But he actually gave you, if you look past the radio records that Ja Rule has, he actually has he has street shit that don't involve fucking singing. But once you buy into 50 Cent's narrative, you won't go listen to it. Oh, fuck Ja Rule, I ain't listen to that shit.
Between me and you, put it on.
One of us. So nigga made a song about if God was like a regular nigga. That shit was fire. If God was one of us. Listen, What I'm not gonna do is defend Ja Rule for niggas who already decided Ja Rule fake 20 years ago. Ain't gonna do it because it's a beat a dead horse. All I'm gonna say is 336. Okay, so again, we talk about how albums resonate with us.
This is the height of Ja Rule.
I remember, no, it wasn't at the height. That's the mistake people make. It was before the hype. Because think about it. That was his second album.
Yeah.
And I think that album, that's when Ja Rule figured out, okay, I see what the masses like.
Yeah, and
because if you know, like the song with him and Vita, you know what I'm saying, where he sampled the OJs, the album version wasn't fancied up. That's why I like this whole Ja Rule singing shit. It came out of nowhere to me. It's like, yo, if you actually listen to the original version of it, it didn't have Lil Mo, you know what I'm saying, riffing and shit on it. The video version had Lil Mo, you know what I'm saying, singing in the intro of the song. And that shit changed the course of Ja Rule's career as far as album sales. Because off the strength album, because you remember the first single was Every Little Thing That We Do, and that shit was like it put Christina Milian on more than it did Ja Rule, because Ja Rule at that point had Holla Holla, and he had Die For Me off the Lights Out or Lighten Up soundtrack with the, you know, that shitty movie with Usher when it was the high school kids. You know what I'm saying? And he had I mean, it will ride with me. I mean, it will die with me. I'm around at the end of the road, baby. This black one drive me crazy. And that was Ja Rule's thing at the moment. And niggas was fucking with him more of that. But once the singing came out, it was funny. This nigga be singing every record. But it's funny how niggas, you know what I'm saying, reach back and start anointing niggas pioneers for styles. Listen to every fucking record you hear now. What's on it? It's either a featured artist singing or the rappers fucking singing. Damn near 90% of the rappers today sing on their records. Sing on their records. The most gangster nigga.
Yeah, there's a
sing.
combination of Ja Rule and Drake and Kanye West and Kid Cudi in a bunch of 2020 stuff.
See, what you're gonna do, what you did is now, it's gonna give motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying, the scapegoat to ignore the Ja Rule part. Oh, Kanye West and Drake and shit. Drake is great as a legit. He can sing. He has solid vocals. Different lane.
But I mean,
but motherfuckers. The point is that rappers sing now.
Yeah, that's right.
And Ja Rule was just humming. He wasn't even singing. He was harmonizing and got shitted for singing. But listen, this episode isn't about defending Ja Rule. We're gonna move on to the next fucking album.
336 is on your top 10.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I'm gonna go and I'm not gonna get on the divergence yet. I think. Well, no, let me give them something nobody's gonna say.
Where you gonna go, Brian?
Nobody's gonna say Blazing Arrow.
Cause you're right. Cause I don't even know who the fuck album.
You don't know what it is?
I don't either.
Yeah, and then you know something. There's a rap group. There's a rap group. It's a rapper and a DJ. It's San Francisco. Oakland. I'm sorry. It's the band called Black Alicious.
It's Black Alicious album. Yeah, I know Black Alicious.
Yeah. Okay. So
let's go.
Yeah. Well, if you probably heard them because they've been Coca-Cola commercials.
I hate Coca-Cola commercials. I'm a Pepsi fan.
They've been in a whole shut the fuck up. they get their music license all over the place. That's what I'm saying.
Shout out to them.
So Blazing Arrow is my favorite album from them. It's the most that was the one on MCA at the time on Mary J. Blige, and the Roots was out. They was all on the same label or whatever. So right before they folded, Black Alicious came out with Blazing Arrow, and it's still one of those fire albums. It has it's just, you know, it has joints called Chemical Calisthenics. It has joints called like it just it's a exercise of rap that you can't really even find no more. And like I said, I talk about me being a backpacker in a way, and I couldn't let this thing go without a couple of albums that nobody's gonna hear of, or should, and they should though. They really should. And it like Blazing Arrows, the title track, or Release. There's 3 parts, a 10-minute song. There's 3 parts. It has Saul Williams, who's the poet, the slam poet. Chemical Calisthenics, like I said, All Pleasure, that had Jaguar Wright on it, who was on the Blueprint. What do you call it? The joint with the Roots did the Blueprint.
Unplugged.
Mm-hmm. Jaguar Wright's on there. Paragraph President. Just like a lot of rap. It's like you want to rapping, you want to hear somebody really be able to spit, put words together, metaphors, and just wordplay. I listen to that all the time. I still do. It's 13 years old, and I still listen to it. So it's or 18 years old now. Yeah. So yeah, Blazing Arrow. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody knows it.
It's not on my list. It's not on my radar.
Nobody knows.
Not on my radar.
Nobody knows it, but it's one of the best albums of the 2020s.
Bro, give us another album, bro.
Okay. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit to the mid 2000s, and I'm gonna go with Kendrick Lamar. Good Kid, Mad City. Love that album straight through. We got The Recipe, Compton, Backseat Freestyle, Don't Kill My Vibe, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. You got Pour Drink. I can't remember the name of the song, but Liquor, whatever it is just straight through. And that's, again, I think that was a time where Kendrick Lamar was still hungry and put a lot of energy into his albums, because To Pimp a Butterfly was trash to me. So I definitely think that's my top 5 of all time, or excuse me, not all time, between the last 20 years.
Actually, in my honorable mentions, I had Damn. I don't have Good Kid, Mad City in my top 10, but I had Damn in my honorable mentions. And the only reason I had it over Good Kid, Mad City is because I feel like Good Kid, Mad City is like one long song. Like, if I play the first song, I gotta play the whole thing, which is not a bad thing. I'm not trying to say that as a negative. I'm saying I don't get back to it a lot because I gotta play it all the way through when I play
right.
it. So, but it's absolutely a classic. And but Damn has some of my favorite Kendrick pre Good Kid, Mad City, like post Good Kid, Mad City songs, and I still listen to it. Like,
is Damn in your top 10?
No, it's my honorable mentions.
Spoiler, there are no Kendrick Lamar.
You can't forget about the skits too, though. The skits are funny as hell.
Actually, I don't remember. Like, the skits are some of the, like, I don't like. I know, like, he got shot. Like, he was something, the minivan. And he saw like he's in his mom minivan shooting niggas. I like.
All right. So my next album.
Okay.
And this was a tough one because I couldn't figure out, because it's a toss up between 2 of his albums. And I said one of them has to be in my top 10. Maybe both of them, but one of them has to be in my top 10. And even as I say it right now, I still haven't decided which one is which one is in my top 10. But I'm going, just like the Kanye, I have legitimacy to, or I have an understanding of why Twisted Fantasy is in my top 10 over Graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the Marshall Mathers LP is in my top 10 over the Eminem show.
Okay.
Because, God, it's tough. It's tough.
I don't have Eminem's
I understand.
And I love Eminem show.
But I can't. So the reason why I'm putting Marshall Mathers, and again, because we're not ranking our top 10, we're just naming our top 10. I can say that Marshall Mathers LP is in my top 10 over Eminem show because number one of the records off of the Eminem show was also on the 8 Mile soundtrack, which is Clean Up My Closet. That takes away from the album.
Okay.
I think at the height of the album, I feel like I more fondly remember songs from the Marshall Mathers LP before the singles, because like I said, this is one of those. This is actually other album. When I said that I was listening to Like Boiling for Chocolate on the when I was working at Sam Goody, Marshall Mathers LP was the other album. And because it's like I didn't like Eminem going to Marshall. Like Hi, My Name Is. I didn't like that song. Well, it's not that I didn't like it. It was annoying. Because I didn't get him at the time. But
that's the Way I Am, which is a dope record.
Before that, once I heard you say I Never Knew Why, and that's like the first record on it before you. So here's the thing: when the Marshall Mathers LP came out, the first single is Without Me, I believe. No, not Without Me. It's Slim Shady. Slim Shady. I can't remember the name of the song. Slim Shady, right? The real Slim Shady. That's what the name was. And I was like, I like that one more than I like Hi, My Name Is. But when I listened to the album and I put it on, and the first record was I Never Knew Why. That I heard, I'm like, I don't know black music, I don't know white music, I don't know white music. We're high school kids. I put Lazarus with him. I'm like, yo, he's been saying shit the whole time, but like that, in that beat on that song, it just woke me up. Like, okay, I fuck with this shit. And then the Who I Am and Stan and I am who I am, you know what I'm saying? I am what I say, and just like follow suit. And then me being a fucking Onyx fan growing up and him having sticky fingers on it, like yo, motherfuckers nowadays don't know about motherfucking Onyx. They don't respect Sticky Fingers. For him to have Sticky Fingers listed as one of his favorite artists and have him on an album, I'm like, okay, I fuck with this shit right here. I fuck with this shit. But again, the only reason why Marshall Mathers LP is on my list over the Eminem show is because I get irritated when they recycle songs. I hate if two artists
my closet is like there's like 15 songs on this
it is. Motherfucker, it's by the slimmest of artists. But I know how I am. Like, yo, if there's a song that comes out and the fucking part is the labels do this shit a lot. Like if they like you or if they feel like you don't have the push to really put over an album, or maybe you had an album, you did a song, right? But you did it for the soundtrack. But the soundtrack really didn't sales because they didn't want to buy the rest of the soundtrack. They wanted to say, let me see if they like the song, but they just like it for the artist. And then they put it on your album just to strengthen the album or whatever, or the booster. Eminem didn't necessarily need at that moment when that album came out, when Eminem show came out, he didn't need Cleaning Out My Closet on that album for the album to do the numbers it did. No. So for me, it felt like overkill. Even though they put it early, like it was sort of like close to the early middle of the album. Like they didn't need it on the album. You know what I'm saying? But it fit the narrative because the Eminem, to be honest with you, if you listen to the Eminem show, it felt like it should have been the soundtrack for 8 Mile. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But 8 Mile was a various artist, you know what I'm saying, soundtrack. Right. But Eminem show should have been that. So I feel like a lot of the energy from Eminem show came off of 8 Mile. Whereas there was no energy other than Eminem being an artist that was a writer on Marshall Mathers LP. And that's why I elevate Marshall. That's why Marshall Mathers LP resonates more to me than the Eminem show.
Okay. No, man. My favorite, like I said,
with that being said, Marshall, the Eminem show is one of my.
I'll still go back and listen to a bunch of Eminem show songs. So I can't really say that for some shady order.
He gave so many different flows on that album.
Yeah, and that's why I do. That's 7 or 6.
I think we're on 7. We're 7.
On 7. So I'm like Blazing Arrows, something y'all not gonna fuck with. I get that. Let's go back to something that I think there's a consensus that may not be for everybody.
Marshall Mathers LP, not Marshall Mathers 2 LP. Don't mistake. I put it out there. Don't mistake the view. The two different, big difference. Pause.
The South has not been represented.
Oh, it will be. Trust me.
It's going to start.
It will be.
It's not the.
Brian's going to mention the first South album. Okay. I know it would be, which was next, but I think I know where he's going. Go ahead, Brian. Actually, I guarantee you. Can I name the album for you?
You can name a album.
Will you be honest with me?
Yeah, I haven't written down.
Will Brian be honest with me if I name the album from the South?
There's a couple albums.
I guarantee, because again, it's my best friend of what, 20-some years? And we were roommates for 10?
Yeah. I
feel like based on the shit that he listens to, that and his phone is black right now, even though he should be looking at the Facebook Live right now, but we're not gonna get into that.
Facebook Live is I have a YouTube Live.
Okay. Don't interrupt my narrative. You gotta play it to the narrative, Brian. Damn, you be fucking shit up. Run the Jewels. Sheesh, Run the Jewels not even on this nigga's list. He just was, hey, listen. and I'm a big Killer Mike fan because of one of the artists who's on my list. I'm not a crazy ECLP fan. I'm surprised this nigga didn't have that Run the Jewels out. He used to listen to that album every fucking day. Now I really need to know who's on your list.
I shouldn't even have. I shouldn't have been. I did think about that album.
I don't think he did, y'all.
I did actually.
His mind got blown when I said that.
We don't believe. I got blown because you said another artist that's connected to Mike, which was I'm gonna guess is Outkast.
Nigga. Outkast on your list.
Shit. So that's why I said that. That's why why I don't have to stay clean on the list is where I'm going with it. But I'm going to just say I'm gonna just keep with I'm not gonna deviate. And I'm just gonna say King album. The King album.
It's on my list of lists. I haven't decided if it's top 10 yet, but please.
The King album.
It's the King, bitch.
King album from front to back, which is a song that I enjoy.
It's actually a song rocks.
It is the culmination of everything everybody loved about T.I. No, like after Paper Trail was the next one, and that was after he got hit with the charges. And it's a good album, but nothing after King. People really like. He had Just Blaze on that album.
Yeah,
DJ Tooth on that album.
He had shit on that album.
A lot of shit that you can still listen to. The main joint that's on, like I guess that's part of your problem because it's on the soundtrack, it's on the HBO soundtrack. That joint hit hard for the whole summer. It hit for the whole summer, bro. Real. Do you know how hard King hit goes?
Yeah, I do. No homo. Pause.
Wait, Brown said go homo and one about to hit him hard. I think he hit Brown.
Wow. Look at Trump. King's back. King's back. Switch. Facts. Front back. What you know? I'm talking to you.
What you know about that? a second. So the King album alone makes me side eye any motherfucker when it was rumored for T.I. versus Lil Wayne and people decided it was a wash. And I'm like, yo, did these niggas not know what King was? Like, yo, why is T.I.'s catalog being disrespected right now?
Even when they was talking about 50, like trying to hit high 50 for the first time.
Please continue, bro.
Super disrespectful.
I ain't been around this.
This album,
I'll keep my eyes closed.
this album should be in somebody's top 10, and it had to be mine. It had to be. Because I love this record. I love this album, bro. This is Paper Trail and even urban music.
Urban legend.
Straight. Okay. Shit, that album run. Listen to that 4-album run and think T.I. can't be like beat people in a verse. It's like, what are y'all talking about? What are we saying? Listen to those albums. What are we doing? 50 Cent. 50 Cent had one album. That's in my top favorites. But he's got one album. I listen to this joint over and over and over and over.
I should. But urban legend just had something that ASAP. Bro, his lead single. That's all for that. That's all. That's all.
I get it right.
You don't know. You see me in the street, you don't know me. When you holler with your speaker, remember, yo, fuck on that head and that papa pippin', yo, no. Hey, yo. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, you're done. Will not see you. So, I say this. Neither King or Urban Legend are definitively in my top 10. All I will say is right now, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 albums in my top 10, like certified right now. And I haven't decided whether what the last album is just yet. But so well, we didn't name them, but I'm just going off of what I have on my list. But yes, King was the shit. Undertaker, like, yo, front to back, that album was just crazy. With that being, listen, so since we in the South, I gotta name my next album, then we'll get to you, Ray, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Coney. Outkast.
I've seen.
Now I've seen some people mention Speaker Box and Love Below, and I understand why.
Yeah, I understand.
Because people, when you look at these publicated lists, they focus. Number one, this is the thing. This is why when I look at these lists online and shit like that, the only reason I would look at them lists is because I don't want to forget anybody. But what I don't read their articles or their reasons why they mention these artists, because I don't know the motivation. I don't know their motivation. And if you telling me that you would list Speaker Box and Love Below over Stank Cody because of the sales, you lost me. Because if you know anything about the way sales go, if you have a double disc, every sale is double because you're selling 2 discs. If you don't know that by now, I don't list that Speaker Box and Love Below because it's 2 separate entities. Whereas Stankonia they still held tight to that collaboration effort. They still worked together to make Stankonia, like they did. You know what I'm saying? Like you could tell that they were getting more melodic sonically on Aquemini, but they really got there on Stankonia, but it was still rap. That's where they introduced my guy Killer Mike.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They actually, put it like this, Outkast made me like 3 6 Mafia.
Nah, they didn't get that far. They made me go back and listen to Rakim. Not Rakim. Raekwon.
You know what I'm saying? You talking on the equivalent album?
Yeah.
Stan Konya, I remember I would listen to that album like back and forth, like it would be on repeat the album. People repeat songs. I would repeat the album because at the time I was still I was working. That's when I had left day school because I got a management gig at the music shop. I was working the music shop in the morning, Sam Goody, by the way, and then Music Land, which is a Sam Goody store. I was working the music shop because I was shitty in school. I was sleeping every day. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, really into school. And I noticed that I focused better at nighttime, so it made sense that I go and make easy money managing a record shop when nobody's in there in the morning, and then go to school at night. So I went to Blade at night. So I went to Blade Night School at nighttime. And I remember from the time I got off work to, you know what I'm saying, going to night school, there was only a handful of albums that I was listening to. And Outkast, Stan Konya was one of them. Ja Rule's 336 was one of them. To go R&B, David Hollister's, you know what I'm saying, Chicago 85, which may be mentioned next week. And Donnell Jones's Where I Want to Be, which will definitely be mentioned on that R&B episode. I want to put out there now. Stan Konya was which it did not make my top 10. And listen, every album, what y'all gotta understand is I know some of y'all going to read this or watch this or hear this and like, what? How this album didn't make it? Scarface, Last of a Dying Breed, did not make my top 10. And part of it was because I didn't realize it came out in 2000, but also because you know what, it just didn't make it. So, but I love Last of a Dying Breed. I still remember because one of my OGs, Spade from Equilibrium Nation.
I had that Tupac song.
What?
That's a Dying Breed, right?
You sure it wasn't the Diary? You talking about Smile?
I remember the Diary.
You talking about Smile? No, Smile was on Diary. Okay. But Last of a Dying Breed, it stopped though. He was in his bag on that. I think that was like he was in his bag.
This is gonna be funny.
Brad Jordan was in his bag.
You're gonna go to Rail, but
yeah.
I haven't Scarface album.
Would that be so? If he got a Scarface album, it's not a Last of a Dying Breed, I mean he got the fix. Actually, he might got the joint that came out like 2016, 17. That shit was fire. But anyways. Outkast, Stan Konya
deserves to be in the top.
From Bondo with Baghdad to Keisha to a lot of records that's not commercial singles. That album is just a masterpiece. Real, what you got for us, Real?
All right. I'm gonna switch it up. Brian, I know y'all not gonna agree with this because y'all favorite album from this artist is Teflon Don. But next, I got God Forgives I Don't over Teflon Don. The reason why, and I think a lot of people will probably say Teflon Don over God Forgives I Don't. I think this album is so slept on. My man was spitting bars from Pirates to Ashamed to Three Kings to 16 with my man 3 Stacks on it to So Sophisticated. And ain't no other album, you know what I'm saying, from Rick Ross that's better than this. And I'm a huge Rick Ross fan, so this is definitely one of my top 10 albums. Go ahead, T. I know you got something to say. I know.
Well, I'm doing the count right now. So right now we have named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've named 7 albums. And of the 7 albums that we personally named, I have wait. Let me 1, 2. Yeah, we've named 7. And out of the ones we've named, 2 of them have been mentioned. So I have 9 already on. So we got 3 more albums to that, I guess, mentioned. So you might have some albums. So I respect. So since you talk about that album, I will say that Teflon Don was definitely one of the. It was actually the 4th album I wrote down as far as albums that might be in my top 10. And when Brian mentioned the South, I thought he was gonna go there. When Brian mentioned Twisted Fantasy, I think he thought I was gonna go there and talk about Teflon Don because of.
What's that anti-mirror?
I'm not a.
Somebody.
Yeah. I'm not a star. Somebody like I got the pistol in the. Hey, when the nigga said I don't even take a shower, just grab me a stick of Dio, nigga, what's more real than that? Hey, listen, Obama can tell about how he really killed 25 niggas in one night. It ain't realer than I ain't even take a shower, just grab me a stick of Dio. If you don't relate to that, then nigga kill yourself.
Yeah. Teflon Don. So it's on my list as well. Woo. It's the first album that I wrote down.
See what I'm saying, y'all?
At the original, like I spent like 3-4 hours on this, but yeah, man, Teflon Don, bro. Just like Beautiful Dark Twisted Family, it represents that same type of time period around the same time. Streets. And
that was how we was going about. That's right around when the harbor first opened up. We was hitting harbor on a Saturday or Friday night. We fucked up. Shit, we got you real fucking up. We went to Rosamond's Economy that one night. I had the shorty at the bar who was serving us extra drinks and shit. We was getting motherfucking the Mexican food and shit. Then we went at the creek, we went at the other joint, and you saw the shorty you was trying to holler at. Then, like literally, as soon as you walked out, as soon as you was about to go holler at her, that shit hit you. You was like, nah, we need to get. My nigga Brian was like, we need to go. I was like, what? Facts.
Yeah. Anyway, facts. Or Jasper's. Yeah, we just.
Yeah.
We in the car.
I still remember that. There's a few moments I remember where Brian verbatimly said it in a certain way. He was like, we need to go. I was like, he was literally like 2 seconds from going to holler at this shorty who I knew previously. He was like, yo, you wasn't. She was younger at the time. This was a couple years past, and she was an adult. Like, yeah, she still looked, you know what I'm saying, the part. Brian was about to go, you know what I'm saying, take a shot. And I think when we walked out, that light, maybe the air hit him, and he realized that, nigga, we've been drinking for 2 hours straight vodka and cranberries and shit. He was like, nah, we need to go. We gotta go. I was like, all right. And, I'll take it back. What happened was, the nigga was like, you driving. Yeah, when that's what he said. He was like, we need to go. And when we got to the door, he gave me the keys before we even got to the car. He gave me the keys. He was like, you driving. And I was like, I mean, I'm all right, cool. Because he drove up to the door. He's like, you driving. I'm like, all right. And then when we get to the car, my man, he already white boy, so he can't get no whiter, so I ain't paying no attention to it. We get in the car, and the nigga's like shuffling around in his own car. I'm like, nigga, you know where this shit at? And I realized the nigga looking for a bag. Thank God it was a bag in the fucking front seat. And I'm driving, and anything he don't know. This is what the part that he don't know. Cause he was so fucked up. Nigga, I was fucked up too. I was gone. And the thing about it is, I'm the type of person, if I'm not driving, I don't even pay attention to how we got there. So nigga, I didn't even know where the fuck I was going. And I was gone. But you know what I'm saying? I had no wires, so I figured it out, right? Brian Earl in the bag. Then the nigga, he had the bag in front of Earl out the car. So this was twice, right? I'm so drunk, nigga. He don't notice until right now.
No, don't keep that in there.
He don't notice until right now. I was so drunk, nigga. I was driving on the wrong side of the fucking road.
What was that?
You say?
At the harbor or up the street?
It was at the harbor though. So what happened was it was like a little. It was this. They didn't have no light. It was shitty lighting out there. Or maybe I was drunk. But it's shitty lighting out there though. Around, you know, when they first started building the harbor and shit, the roads was like it was a lot of circles and shit, and one of them was like a dead end. And I didn't realize. So when I drove back, I didn't realize it was one way or some shit like that. Remember, I'm drunk and I'm remembering from being drunk. So I may be remember. Don't be like, oh, I drove there all the time. There's no one way. Suck my dick. Listen, as a drunk motherfucker, I'm trying to tell you, I drove on the wrong way and I had to get back. So I drove. Oh, not only did I drive the wrong way, nigga, I drove in the grass because I remember. I do not get those drinking drive. Absolutely not. But if you survive and you tell that story, I say that motherfucker much. I remember when I did it, I bumped the bump and I looked around and see if he saw me, thinking the nigga was looking at me. That nigga was gone. I was like, all right, cool. I barely remember. And I just hit 395 or 495. Was it 495, 395?
No, it was on 295.
It was 295. Fuck that.
Oh, so it was 395.
Because I was speeding.
That's 495.
And I wasn't about to speed down 295. The super cameras on that shit.
Yeah, it's all from there.
I remember it was. Once I got to where I knew, I was like, all right, I know this ready. I got there, and I'm like, all right, bro. My aunt's real picky about people in the house, but fuck it. She's my aunt. Rest in peace, my aunt. Her heart too big. She wasn't telling nigga nah. So what happened was, I would have, and for him, I would have sent it back to you. But whatever the case would be, we get there, and the nigga Brian get out the car. This nigga Brian threw up again. But when he threw up this time, that shit was fucking epic. The Bama threw up in the middle, like dead middle of the street. And we in Palmer Park. So, you say, niggas in Palmer Park, we don't go to sleep no time soon. So you might see motherfuckers speed up the street 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm like, Brian, you need to get out the fucking middle of the street, bro. Because you don't know who about to come to the street. Niggas don't expect nobody to be in the middle of the street throwing up. You can get your ass hit. Try to go back into the street, grab this motherfucker, like, bro, we need to get out of the middle of the street. But that's, mind you, that's one of the reasons why the show was called On the Ride Up, because a lot of the shit that we did was either on the ride up or on the way back. But it's still on the way back. Anyways, bro, give me your next song. Give me your next album of this, bro.
Okay. Some people may try to crucify me for this.
The crucifixion.
I got Nipsey Hussle, Victory Lap in there. Of course, Nipsey Hussle came out with albums before that. They were good. But this album right here, I think this was pretty much putting him on the map. Like, bro, I'm here. I'm representing the West Coast. Nobody's touching me. It's a shame, we didn't get to see projects after that, But this album, man, it's a reason why I won a Grammy. And this is like historical to me. I know you got something to say about it, T.
Of course, I had something to say about it.
Let's hear it, man.
So this Nipsey Hussle album, Victory Lap, it's a special album to me.
Mm-hmm.
I won't pretend that it was a special album to me prior to him being killed. It was the album of the year for me beforehand. I had already labeled that album the album of the year when it came out.
Agreed.
And I already loved the album. Once the album, once he passed away, listening to the album it just changed. It changed my ear listening to it after that, and to the point where when I listed my albums, not only was it the first album that I mentioned that might make my top 10, it was the third album that I wrote down. Victory Lap by Victory. Like, I listened to that album like religiously. And
it's hard to listen to.
It's hard to?
Yeah, it's hard. I found it's so hard. Not even on a musical level, because I didn't even like Crenshaw. But when I first heard him when he did the remake of the Jump Jump, I just thought his, like, how, every time I heard him speak, he was just saying the realest things that I ever heard. So it was like, like, I don't know, man. It's tough to listen to. It's tough to listen to.
This album, like, real. You said people give you push. I don't know if people get the push you think you get, because this album is really close to being my top. I said it before. I have 9 albums listed. Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap is one of my lists. It's on my list of lists.
It's really
so it may make my list, and I just haven't decided whether or not it's the 10th album yet. But like, if I were to say, if I put it like this, if I just said the last 10 years, it would definitely be the number 1 album. No album out of the last 10 years, I want to say, I think, not doing no real math. No, it's like out of the last 10 years, I was only like 3 or 4 albums resonated with me like that album. So
yeah, it was hard. It was hard to get through when it first happened. I've listened to the chorus a couple times, and it's dope. It's like, as much as I didn't like Crenshaw, I like Victory Lap. Like, that's how much it is. Like, it's not even about him dying or passing away. It just had a lot of dope music.
It's from beginning to the end. Like, yo, I feel like it's a very rare case nowadays where you can play an album front to back and it just goes the entire way. From the beginning to the end. Like, I will say, him passing, I feel like it made a lot of the shit that he said sound more prophetic. But I don't want to be a prisoner of, and to be honest with you, my only reason for not just certifying him in on my top 10 is because I don't want to be just a prisoner of the moment. And I might still be a prisoner of the moment because I might still be in the moment.
The dope record.
Yeah,
but absolutely should be in some of those. It deserves being a favorite.
Right.
I'm on 8. I don't know if that's your 9 or who's 9 or whatever.
I haven't listened to mine yet.
Well, I'm just saying that's we're coming up on 10 albums that we're going to discuss in this episode, and we talked. It's 8 because you brought up Teflon Don. I can't really say much more than, Teflon Don is my 10. But then we talk about Scarface, and Scarface, Fix is one of my favorite albums, but I need to give light to this album, and this is the best place to do it. Deeply Rooted is one of the best albums that come out in the last 5 years, like, period.
Yo, I was actually shocked when I heard that album. It's like, not that, and I'm a big Scarface fan, but I just felt like it ties into what the conversation I had on one of my tangents, like a couple months ago, or even a month or 2 ago, maybe it was a couple months ago, about how. No, I tell you, when I was talking about the Young Thug sort of slighting on dollar, where I have a problem with, like, yo, we write off our veteran rap artists, and no other genre does it. R&B sort of does it, but they're sort of connected. Like you can still tour and make money, but it ain't the same. The energy's not the same with R&B. But rap, after a certain while, you just become niche. Like the people who stuck in time. Whereas a 20-year-old can listen to a rock band from the 70s. That's buck wild to me. It's like, yo, there's great rap music from the 90s. There's great rap music from 2000. And vice versa. Yo, if you listen to rap in the 90s, you can still listen to somebody that comes up today. You're not betraying somebody from your past. It's okay. We need to find a place where we can have an overall embrace of the input that everybody gives to genre of rap.
Yeah. And I think that's coming on.
And I think that's when that album I start, because when I think about our reaction when we heard, because it's sort of because we found out he was coming out with an album because it was a Breakfast Club. Like, damn, Face coming out with an album. And then we heard it, we was like, Jesus, y'all had this Face album? He face mom with this shit.
Crazy.
But we shouldn't have that reaction.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't. It shouldn't. But that's
the only person who don't get that reaction is Jay.
That's true.
When Busta Rhymes just dropped his last album, we was like, yo, you hear Busta's album?
Yeah,
What? Is it his best album? No. But so he shouldn't get that reaction like a shock album reaction. I feel like the Deeply Rooted album got like a shock reaction. You know what I'm saying? But it deserves the respect. And if it makes your top 10 respect, that's okay.
Yeah, Get Well, Face, I don't know if you got the kidney transplant or whatever, you had COVID and all that stuff that's going on in 2022. Man, Deeply Rooted, you need space. Like, if it is what it is, like, all my favorite albums gonna come from 2000 to 2010. Like, it is, like, I'm not gonna, like, these are obviously my favorite albums because I listen to them over and over again. But I'm not gonna there's another one that came out in the last 5 years that nobody's gonna know. But so I'm not gonna we're gonna get to it. This is 9, I think. But Deeply Rooted is one of my favorite. It's a top 5 artist to me. Scarface is a top 5 dead or alive, and we can have that conversation later.
Is in your top 5 dead or alive?
Yeah, like it's Common, Face, Jay, Big.
That one was Face.
I wouldn't put Scarface.
That's all you 5 there.
Yeah,
that's your 5. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's like, but then it just hit so hard, and it still do. Like I can put Deeply Rooted on. I'm gonna put Deeply Rooted on tomorrow morning.
You like this? It hits so hard. Wait, what happened?
Here we go.
Wait, what happened?
Here we go. No, it's just crazy, man. It's fine. I can't even call it. Deeply Rooted, bro. Yeah, it should be in the top 5. It's 10. You should listen to it at least. Definitely. 20 years. It should be in the top 25.
Real, what you got for us, Real?
All right. This is actually one of the newer rappers. I wouldn't say he's a top 10, but this album, in my opinion, is one of the best of all time. Or I keep saying all time, but within the best 20 years. And I have Travis Scott, Astro World. It may throw a little people off. I know. I don't know. That album, man, is especially like live in concert. Take for granted, I didn't see it live in concert, but I've seen clips of the concert. Man, the dude is talented, and he is slept on.
You think Travis is slept on?
Yes. I think more people know about Travis Scott because things like his shoes, the Travis Scott ones.
But that comes from the music, though.
It does, but when you think about it, nobody mentions Travis Scott as being a top 10, though.
That's because he had writers. I think it's like he has a specific style of music. It's like you don't really listen to him for his bars, even though there's bars in there, but also like Sahai writes for him. There's guys that write for him, so it's kind of hard. He's more a producer rapper.
Yeah.
And Actual World is tough. I like Actual World a lot. If I had a Trap Scott album in my top 10, it'd be Birds Singing the Trap, Sing Midnight, whatever it's called. Birds in the Trap Sing Midnight. Because I love it. Going back to the album. But man, yeah, no, I don't think I can't agree that he slept on. Maybe he should be talked about more, but I think he's talked about a lot. I think if you're gonna say somebody slept on in the last 7 years, I think Young Thug is kind of slept on.
You said Young Thug?
Yeah.
Within Rail's generation, I don't think so. But within our generation, I think so.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right.
Agreed.
9 of the 10 albums in my top 10 have been mentioned, though we're only on 7 as far as us naming albums. We've named 7.
7 yours. I've named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You named 9?
Yes, I named it.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
I said Teflon Don.
You didn't name Teflon Don.
No, but we talked.
I'm talking about name, like when you named the album.
Okay. All right. So
that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not gonna go. We don't have to go back.
I'm only talking. I'm just recapping real quick.
Okay.
So of the albums we've named, I only named 7, but of the albums we've all mentioned and talked about, I can say that Jay-Z Blueprint, Ja Rule's 336, Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I didn't name that album, but you did. That's why I'm saying I didn't name it, but I agree with you. Common's B album, Eminem's Marshall Mathers album, Finally Famous, Locks We Are the Streets, and Stankonia by Outkast. Now, you mentioned Rick Ross, Teflon Don. Mm-hmm. And I want to say that's in my top 10. And the problem is, it's all the other, like I have a couple of, like, it's tough. Like, to name and Bro mentioned Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap, which arguably could be in my top 10. He mentioned Graduation, which could arguably be in my top 10. But I've just realized what album I did not name. It's on my list, but I didn't pin it. And he will be the only artist that has 2 albums on my top 10. Jay-Z, The Black Album. The album Noir. What more can I say?
Yeah, that was actually my next album too.
What can I do? Yo, I remember, you know what I'm saying, when I was working at this particular place at this particular time, and I was dating a particular chick, and I knew that a rack of dudes was on her home.
You